well-being of people of the state remains its top priority, irrespective of educational, social, and economic status. He stated this at the opening of the town hall meeting with people of Ogun East Senatorial District in preparation for the 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework and 2023 budget in Ijebu-Ode. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Ganion reports.
The town hall meeting with the people of Ogun East Central District in preparation for the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and 2023 budget is basically to ensure their participation in government's decision-making process. In his opening remarks, Governor Abeokuta assured that the current administration will continue to utilize all necessary opportunities in the state to improve on its economy to engender accelerated development across all strata of the state. Governor Abeokuta, while appreciating pensioners in the state for their understanding, assured workers that their entitlements, ranging from global deductions, leave bonus, and others, would be paid as the finance of the state improve, stating that the financial crisis presently facing the state is not peculiar to the state.
We continue to listen to your opinions, views, recommendations, and constructive criticisms, which will always be the basis for our policies, programs, and implementation.
The digitalization of the state economy by the current administration, according to Governor Abeokuta, has yielded positive results as the state between January and September generated a sum of 70 billion naira as internally generated revenue, IGR.
As of this month of October, which is the 10th month of this year, our year-to-date IGR between January and September has been over 70 billion. 70 billion between January and September. You can do a projection if you have done 70 billion in 9 months, what you are likely to do by the end of the year. Last year, for the first time in the history of the state, we did an IGR of over 100 billion. This is your state. Either you live with us or you are in diaspora. Please do everything to continue to promote, the fortune of your state.
The State Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Honorable Olaolu Olabinton, and his finance counterpart, Mr. Dakpo Okubadejo, said the essence of the engagement was to get people's input in the preparation of the 2023 budget in line with the Building Our Future Together agenda of the present administration.
Treated the State Fiscal Responsibility Law 2020. The law highlights the roles and functions of all stakeholders, as well as spells out the expected fiscal activities in the state, which has assisted in the annual budget preparation process.
Citizens' confidence and trust through transparent and accountable leadership, to improve human capital development, improve ease of doing business, and to develop and enhance the value chain for the abundant natural oil and mineral resources for the purpose of galvanizing economic and social development.
They, however, said government would continue to prioritize the welfare of its workers, being partners in progress. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, in continuation of the year 2023 budget town hall meetings and in preparations for the 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework and year 2023 budget, the next port of call is Remo in the Ogun East Senatorial District. A statement by the Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Mr. Olaolu Olabinton, indicates that the meeting is slated to hold on Wednesday, 19th October 2022 at Remo Royal Event Center, Akaribus Palace, Itaoba, Shagamu. The statement added that participants are expected to be seated at the venue by 1 in the afternoon. Officers on the post of assistant directors and above in the state's public service and representatives of interest groups across the state, including traditional, religious and political leaders, trade and market associations, professional bodies, civil society groups, Student unions, among others, are also invited to the meeting. In Ogun State, heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government have been admonished to guide against any form of misclassification of budget heads and always ensure proper record keeping of all transactions. Chairman, State House of Assembly's Committee on Public Account and Anti-Corruption, Honorable Musefiu Lamidi, gave the admonition while playing host to the management of State Hospital Ilaro Ishara and Ministry of Community Development and Cooperatives. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the exercise. Details of his report are presented in this package.
The Committee on Public Accounts and Anti-Corruption of the Ogun State House of Assembly continued its statutory duties with the consideration of year 2020 financial records of the State Hospital Ilaro as presented by the Medical Director, Dr. Abdul Wahab Yusuf. During the exercise, the committee discovered some financial infractions and calls for the submission of supporting documents on medical supplies, drugs and laboratories, 2-year bank statements from 1st January 2020 to December 2021 to be submitted on or before Friday 21st of October 2022.
Yeah, just because all those documents on or before Friday, and make sure you prepare for, we want to see your bank statements from 1st January to 31st December 2021.
Similarly, Medical Director, State Hospital Ishara, Dr. Bankole Durojahi, equally led other management of the hospital to present the financial records of the hospital for the year under review before the committee. The chairman, alongside other members of the committee, enjoined the management of the hospital to correct some errors of misclassification of expenditure heads and admonished other heads of MDAs to ensure proper record keeping of all transactions and not forgetting to attach explanatory notes to what is contained in other expenses in their expenditure lines while appearing before the committee. Honorable Lamidi also directed the hospital management to provide some supporting documents to some of its expenditure lines contained in the financial records for 2020 financial year, including 2 years bank statements from 1st January 2020 to December 2021, and to be submitted on or before Friday 21st of October 2022. The management of the two state hospitals, however, assured the committee that all issues raised in their reports will be addressed in the subsequent financial records of the hospitals. The committee also examined the record books of the State Ministry of Community Development and Cooperatives, led by the Commissioner in the Ministry, Honorable Abayomi Hunye.
As part of efforts to create employment opportunities for youth entrepreneurs in the state, Ogun State Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has partnered GIZ Sedin implemented by Copa Worldwide Consultants to organize a 2-day free training to educate over 3,500 youth and entrepreneurs in the state. Fatima Adigbayi, who covered the event at the Valley View Auditorium, Okegbe, Abeokuta, reports that youth were trained on how to write resume, curriculum vitae, job matching, and writing of covering letters, among others. A report is presented in this package.
It is not a one-off thing, but a process to raise over 3,000 youths of Ogun State from job hunting and reduce the rate of unemployment in the state. The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in conjunction with GIZ, in a bid to improve micro, small and medium entrepreneurs in the state. This 2-day free certified training for entrepreneurs was put together. The international team lead, GIZ Sedin, Mr. Kifas in Dagazi, says the program, when completed, will change the perception of participants.
These entrepreneurs that are here are not only going to be trained and be left on their own. They are going to be trained and be helped to access markets if they develop an enterprise. They are also going to be helped to understand what the ecosystem in terms of finance are, what in the ecosystem in terms of digital solutions are, and to bring all the other actors together and align them to these SMEs.
Beneficiaries say it has been a worthwhile experience.
There are a lot of things that a businessman should know so that you'll be able to input in your business and then you have good results. And this is what so many people don't have today. After some times, the business fizzles out. But by the grace of God, the knowledge we are being imparted here will really help to sustain our business for a long time.
I've really had lots to learn from here that has to do with the branding of the products. Like, this is an entrepreneurship program, so we'll be taught the innovations, the value proposition about businesses, the key factors of businesses, and how to go far than the way you think about.
The ongoing training focuses on how to write a resume, curriculum vitae, how to do job matching, writing of cover letters, among others, will be held at Ogun East and in West also.
And still to come in the news, Economic and Financial Crimes Commissions have been advised to shun irrelevant use of technology, but to leverage on its use for development. Ogun State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abeokuta, gave the advice at the closing ceremony of Teach for Nigeria and Hewlett-Packard Technology Bootcamp, where he revealed that the importance of technology cannot be overemphasized for optimal performance in every aspect of life. Abeokuta stressed that with the free and qualitative education put in place, the state government has been doing its utmost to reposition and improve teaching and learning activities, positing that such effort has been yielding results visible through the outstanding performance of learners in all competitions.
We will tell you about other people probably do that same thing too, and you can then go on and on. So we should have that type of attitude we should have to be able to use technology for positive use, like you said. You can go there and do a lot of other things. A lot of other things that are actually not meaningful and they are very useful. But if you want to enhance yourself, enhance your knowledge, and then improve yourself. So you use your computer positively, you use your cell phone positively to enhance your knowledge, to empower yourself, and then you become a better person.
The Commissioner commended Teach for Nigeria and Hewlett-Packard for working towards improving the technological knowledge of teachers and learners, and also for supporting government initiatives in repositioning and revitalizing the sector. In a welcome address, the Chief Executive Officer, TFN, Ms. Folawe Omekunle, pointed out that the organization is focused in ensuring that all children in the country have access to quality education for self-sufficiency. In the students' testimonials, Master Temiloluwa Kuti of Abeokuta Grammar School and Miss Iyanoluwa Oluwole from Egba Comprehensive High School said the training was intensive and impactful for development, appreciating the sponsors for the initiative to empower the young ones. In another development, the State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has hosted the 2022 Ogun State West African Examination Council WAEC Committee meeting. Declaring the event open, the chairman of the committee, who is also the director, Department of Secondary and Higher Education, Mr. Oluwole Majekotomi, said the committee, which is the highest decision-making as far as WAEC in the state was concerned, was deliberating on issues that would have great impact on education in the state. Academic Staff Union of Universities chapters in the federal and state universities in Ogun State have held their local congresses with varied resolutions, while the Olabisi Onabanjo University at Goiwoye and Taishelari University of Education Ijagun Ijebu-Ode resolved to commence full academic activities. ASU FUNAP chapter may not resume full academic activities until their salaries have been paid. This may be responsible for non-issuance of academic timetable 48 hours after ASU called off its 8-month industrial action. Fowora Adesanwo monitored resumption across the state. His report.
Since February 2022, federal and state universities across Nigeria have been shut down due to the industrial action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities.
What we are still saying is that there should be an agreement. Nothing has been signed yet. We are just being hopeful here that things will work out fine.
Up till the time of filing in this report, ASU in various chapters across Nigeria are still of the view that the appeal court's ruling forced the union to cut short its strike due to the fact that demands of the union were not yet met.
To us, our desire is that never should we still have a situation like this in our history as a nation. So we are back to work, and though there are still issues to be attended to and concluded.
However, for the state-owned universities like Olabisi Onabanjo University Agowuye, and to some extent, the Tai Solarin University of Education Ijagun Ijebu-Ode, there were varied level of interface between the management of the institutions, unlike the federal institutions like FUNAB, where no work, no pay rule was largely enforced.
It's not true that they have not been paid anything. We have been paying them some percentage of, of their salaries. It's not that we don't pay them at all. But you see, as we are resuming now, just last week we paid another 1 month salary to ensure that they resume, without stress.
We paid the salaries throughout, kept on paying the salaries, thinking that, of course, the strike will be called off at some time.
For non-payment of the salaries since February 2022, the Federal University of Agriculture, we gathered the Senate of the FUNAB has not sat, and the memo for the resumption of students is still not issued.
They didn't consider us, we students. We are at home for like 8 months now. About the salary, they are owing them. Maybe they did not go to work, that's why they did not pay them the salary. So that's just it.
On the lips of every student and stakeholders were suggestions concerning a better ASU. Meanwhile, returning students are licking their wounds as pockets of ceiling of their personal effects are common denominators across the campuses visited. To traders across the university communities, the resumption of students on the call-off of the ASU strike, there seems a ray of hope for their businesses which had suffered losses greatly in the past 8 months of the strike. Fowora Adesanwo, OGTV News.
Away from that now, stable and steady power supply is the seal of a developed economy, and any nation whose energy need is epileptic in supply, lending development and risk-losing potential investors. This was the submission of the Commissioner for Community Development and Cooperatives, Honorable Abayomi Onye, during a tour of Obafemi Owode on the donation of 8 transformers to the local government area. Aderoke Adeyemi has the details.
Erratic power supply in Nigeria is generally believed to be the bane of economic and industrial development in the country. Having recognized this, the Ogun State government is working non-stop to help bring succor to the provision of this basic amenity in every local government in the state. Obafemi Owode local government is considered to be the largest local government in the southwestern Nigeria, and the Prince Dakwa Abiodun's administration has deemed it fit to contribute to the provision of power supply by donating 8 transformers through the State Ministry of Community Development and Cooperatives. In a visit to the local government, which was led by the Commissioner for Community Development and Cooperatives, Honorable Abayomi Onye expresses hope that the donations will make residents support the vision of the government for a better governance.
Some time before now, they distribute these transformers based on personality. But today, it is not done that way again. He doesn't care who's got it. All he wanted to hear is that the community sat down with all the stakeholders. They all come together and identify very important location that this thing will benefit a lot.
While receiving the team from the ministry, Chairman Obafemi Owode Local Government, Honorable Adeshina Ogunshola, appreciates government's efforts in the provision of basic amenities.
The governor has been doing very well in area of infrastructure in our local government. No doubt about that. The people of Obafemi, they appreciate him. We also appreciate this new transformer being given to communities in our local government.
Stakeholders in Community Development Councils, CDC, expressed their gratitude.
The Executive Governor of Ogun State, our Governor, President Abeokuta, has done incredibly well for this local government, which we all can attest to.
We have been looking forward to this for the past 3 years, and we are happy that we finally have a transformer in our community.
Afterwards, the team visited specific sites in the communities where the transformers will be installed after its delivery. Aderunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
The quality of work done on the ongoing road project and the direct impact on the economy of the state are responsible for the high level of support being enjoyed from the people by the current administration in Ogun State. This was the view of different classes of people who spoke with our news crew while monitoring the different stages of asphalt laying on some critical road infrastructure in the capital city of Abeokuta. Matthew Shoumi completes the report.
As one of the beehives of socio-economic activities and entry points into the capital city of Abeokuta, Lafenwa markets and its environs have been a source of worry for many due to the critical condition of the road infrastructure connecting the areas with other parts of the state until the intervention of the current administration in Ogun State. The great reprieve brought by this project was not only the thing that excited the people, but the quality of job being done on this important road as the crew caught up with some political leaders in Abeokuta local government who have also come to monitor the laying of the second layer of asphalt.
The Lafenwa itself, if I'm not mistaken, should be one of the biggest markets in Ogun State. So that shows the importance of this road. That means you can come to the Lafenwa market, shop, buy whatever you want, and without traffic, you would live with ease.
It is just unimaginable. The thickness of the asphalt alone, taking into consideration trucks and higher vehicles that will be plying this road, that goes a long way. It's not being economical.
The Randa Olomore Road is not just a major bypass for many people coming from the neighboring states and Republic of Benin, but the access road to many who reside in Olomore area of the state.
The former speaker was here. His residence is, this is the same road that he applied to his residence. Myself, as the chairman, House Committee on Works, then the CJ, then our house was nearby this same road, so you can see the importance of the road, and for that reason the clamor was so much for this reconstruction of this road, but unfortunately it did not come to be during our time.
No, he has taken it from Lafenwa down to Randa, and if you also want to pass through this place, this is the Olomore Housing Estate Road. You can also take this road down to Randa. It will be convenient for our people to apply either way.
The engineer on the site of the project speaks on the quality of job being done.
And assuring them this is the binder stage. So another stage of binder wearing base is still coming. So that is when we are going to introduce the speed breaker.
People of the area thank the government for solving the infrastructure challenges facing the communities.
Because I can remember like 2-3 years ago when I was still selling here, mud everywhere.
I pray they should complete this road so we can have good customers to patronize us.
I'm highly impressed, and on behalf of all the residents of Abeokuta local government, we are saying thank you to our governor. May God continue to increase him in everything.
Some other road projects are also receiving the attention of government with the commencement of work on the roads in the capital city of Abeokuta. Matthew Shoumi, OGTV News.
Now politics. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has asked his People's Democratic Party opponent Atiku Abubakar to stop his campaigns and promptly endorse him as Nigeria's next president. He said this when he met with leaders from the northern part of the country under the umbrella of the Arewa Joint Committee. At the meeting, which took place at the Arewa House in Kaduna, Tinubu boasted that he had been a strong pillar of support for the North in the past, adding that now is the time for him to be rewarded.
Drawing inspiration, I've said that. My political history is full of examples of long, abiding support for the North. No revival was on our platform. I've supported Atiku Abubakar in 2007. Then, don't blame me if I ask for the payback period. It's payback. Let him endorse me now. Instead of conducting rally around Kaduna, why I'm talking to great people there. To his credit, the North is paid back in good measure. I am the flag bearer of our party today, partly because of the decision of the Northern APC governors, who rose to the occasion by standing up for our country and unity of our people. It gave primordial consideration. I thank them again and again. By so doing, they have demonstrated that indeed the North is a region that keeps its word and always promotes justice.
The meeting was organized by a coalition of 6 groups, including the Area Consultative Forum, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Northern Elders Forum, Jamal Maton Arewa, among others. And still talking politics, one of the leading support group in the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun Continuity Agenda, has promised to deliver 50,000 votes for all the candidates of the party in each of the 20 local government areas of the state. The convener of the support group, Armstrong Tokwe Akitunde, made this promise during a meeting held in Ikperu as the group promised to actualize the second-term ambition of the Ogun State Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, and presidential bid of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Matthew Shoumi has the details in this package.
As political activities gather momentum and different groups declare support for the second-term ambition of the Ogun State Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, the gathering of members of the Dapo Abiodun Continuity Agenda from all the local governments in the state is to galvanize support for a landmark victory of not just the governor, but all the candidates of the party in the coming elections. Convener of Dhaka, Armstrong Tokwe Akintunde, said the outstanding performance of the governor has made the job easy for the group and encouraged members to take the message of what the governor stands to offer if given a second term to all nooks and crannies of the state.
with the recognition given to us by the national body of the party. So we are more or less like giving our party across the local government a solid backup. When you have 55 to 45% winning, or you have 60 to 40% winning, to us is not a landslide victory. Our assignment is to make sure we deliver what we call 70 to 30, 80 to 20.
Akintunde said APC remains the party to beat, not only in the states but across the nation.
What we need to do is to all join us together, house to house, community to community, local government to local government, and make sure we give our brother, our boss, and our governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, a befitting support. And not just only that, all our candidates and overall our one and only father.
Coordinator of Dhaka, Engineer Segun Kaka, said the group is built on love for APC and Ogun State, brought about by the performance of the current administration in the states.
Dhaka movement is mainly out, is viciously out to bring in Dapo Abiodun for second time. There's no ambiguity about that.
Some of the leaders of the party and political office holders in attendance said the landmark achievements of the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led administration will help win more people over.
Ashwaju is important in this election, so also Dapo Abiodun is important.
His work has to be continued because there are bigger projects ahead of time.
High points of the meeting was the presentation of the certificate of recognition as a support group by the All Progressives Congress, distribution of palliative items and souvenirs to each local government, and launch of Dapo Abiodun Continuity Agenda campaign materials. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has cautioned political parties and their supporters against violence, saying it could further complicate the security situation in the country. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the chairman, INEC, said this at the training of master trainers on election technology for the 2023 general election in Abuja. Yakubu expressed sadness over recent clashes among party supporters in some states, describing it as worrisome. He said even as the commission is working hard to ensure a credible process in the forthcoming elections, reports of clashes among parties and the supporters in some states of the country during the ongoing electioneering campaign are worrisome. According to Yakubu, these are not only violations of the Electoral Act 2022, but also negate the voluntary commitment by all political parties and candidates to the letter and spirit of the peace accord signed about 3 weeks ago under the auspices of the National Peace Committee, NPC. A former deputy speaker in Ogun State between 1999 and 2003 and the current chairman, governing board of the Digital Bridge Institute, DBI, an international center for information and communication technology studies under the Nigerian Communications, Otumba Olusegun Bolanle Gbeleyi, is 60 years on earth. Bumi Adigo covered the birthday Thanksgiving held at First Baptist Church, Idiorogbo Igbesa, in Ado-Dota local government area. This report.
On the 11th of October 1962, a baby was born into the family of late Chief E.A.O. Gbeleyi, the Otunba of Igbesa land, and second politician from Igbesa to be elected into the House of Representatives in Lagos between 1964 and 1966, representing Egbado South Federal Constituency. Otumba Bolanle Olusegun Gbeleyi's father was also the junior federal minister for Labour and Parliamentary Secretary for Labour under Sir Tafawa Balewa government before the first military coup of January 1966. The young boy then is now 60 years old, and it's cause for celebration. Right from United Kingdom, where his family is based, was a special birthday surprise by his wife and children, where all gathered to sing a new song for the man whose father died few months before he was 60. From United Kingdom, he flew back to Nigeria and to his homestead, Igbesa, the present-day Ado-Odo local government, for another round of celebration commemorating his 60th birthday. First Baptist Church, Idiorogbo, Igbesa, was filled to the brim as people from far and near rejoice with the birthday boy. It was a service full of testimonies with the deeds of Otumba Olusegun Bolanle Gbeleyi highlighted, and many appreciated him for his teamwork spirit in developing Igbesa land.
I want God for your life, and I want to pray that pray you by age 60. But alone, in no long life, in me, and I pray 70.
A good report that I am hearing about him, how he has impacted on the lives of ordinary people in this area. I am praying that God will help him to do more.
Done with the church service, guests then proceeded to a civic center for the second leg of the ceremony with entertainment and music to complement the occasion. And this was not devoid of glowing tributes from people.
He's a very hard-working politician. Someone you can always rely on, a very dependable person. Very prominent son of Igbesa.
People took turns to capture the moment by taking pictures with the celebrant as they all confirmed his openness and human relations.
So I am grateful to Almighty God that I have been given the privilege to live up to 60. I pray that more years will be endowed upon me.
Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
Happy birthday to Otumba Olusegun Bolanle Gbeleyi. Coming up next is business news. Do join us after the break.
You're welcome to the business segment of the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has said that going by the lineup of completed and ongoing infrastructural projects executed in the past 7 years, his administration has met the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. He also said the proposed national airline, Nigeria Air, will begin operations this year. The president said this in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, titled, "With High Impact Project Across Nigeria have met the yearnings of Nigerians," President Buhari declares at the last ministerial retreat. Similarly, the federal government has set up mechanisms to boost its internally generated revenue through the capturing of low-level flying helicopters across the country. It was gathered that the collection of these charges will be from over 200 helipads, heliports, airstrips, aerodromes, fixed-base organizations, and floating production, storage, and offloading platforms in Nigeria. The development will also mitigate issues of insecurity in the country, especially the Niger Delta region. Meanwhile, the federal government has engaged a consultant, Nebi Dynamic Concept Limited, to collect takeoff and landing charges from helicopters across the country, which was not the case before now. The Nigeria Liquefied and Natural Gas Company has declared force majeure because of widespread flooding that has disrupted supply. A spokesman for the company has said force majeure is a common clause in contract which essentially frees both parties from liability or obligation when an extraordinary event or circumstance beyond the control of the parties, such as a war, strike, riot, crime, epidemic, or sudden legal changes. prevent one or both parties from fulfilling their obligations under the contract. It was reported that the declaration could worsen Nigeria's cash crunch and would curtail global gas supply as Europe and others struggle to replace Russian export due to the invasion of Ukraine in February. NLNG said all of its upstream gas suppliers had declared force majeure, forcing it to make the declaration as well. And now to telecommunication. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has discovered through social listening and environmental surveillance that a fraudulent letter entitled Certificate of Site Ownership for clearance of mass transmission antenna are being circulated by some unidentified individuals and purporting that the letter was issued by NCC. The fraudulent letter claimed that the Commission had inspected a certain site, which is for 9 mobile telecommunications company GPRS. The fraudsters also gave conditions that the unsuspecting recipient of the letter would meet to make the certificate valid and effective for use by 10th November 2022. It is possible that several variants of the fraudulent letter may have been sent to individuals or organizations with the intent to defraud using the name of the Commission. The Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Isa Idris, ordered the investigation of a case of extortion perpetrated by officers of the agency at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. The order followed a recent outcry on Twitter by a Dubai-bound Nigerian who alleged massive extortion of under 40 Nigerians traveling to the Gulf city. Idris also ordered the withdrawal of the entire shift on duty at the time of the incident. This is according to a statement signed by the Controller General titled Alleged Misconduct at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, and was stamped. And that's it on Business News Tonight. Many thanks for watching. Back to Bukola for the segment of the news.